Greetings. My name is Sumeet Kulkarni, and I am a PhD student at the University of Mississippi. I study gravitational wave astrophysics, and I'm a member of the LIGO Workshop scientific collaboration. And as a part of this collaboration, I spent the spring of this year at one of the detector sites, that is in Livingston, Louisiana, as an outreach fellow. Sligo Livingston has a dedicated science education center, which has a little museum with exhibits, and it hosts regular field trips involving schools from nearby areas within Louisiana. And these school kids get exposed to a tour of the detector itself, as well as trying to understand how gravitational wave detection works. And the focus of the Science Education Center has always been to connect the science that happens within the instrument to simple physics that is taught in schools, such as pressure, static electricity, vacuums, and so on. So while I was there, I contributed to these field trips. Obviously, after COVID, a lot of this has been shifted to a virtual format. Um, just to show a few stats of the public engagement that the Science Education Center has done, it has grown over time. This plot might make you believe it's gone up and come down, but in fact, if you see at where this spike is, that is 2016 when the first detection of gravitational waves was announced. And that led to a huge excitement within not only the area, but the whole world about gravitational waves. So with the shifting of all field trips to a virtual format, one of the things that we realized was the value in having online web-based tools and lesson plans that one can use uh, to have the same goal in mind to connect gravitational wave research to middle and high school physics. So one of the projects that I did was to use Streamlit, which is a Python-based web deployment tool, um, to make an online lesson plan that helps us achieve just that. So in my graduate research, I am well versed with programming in Python, um, and I love coding, and this is something I wanted to use for education. And I found Streamlit to be really intuitive and really easy to use. If you have a basic knowledge of Python, it has a negligible learning curve. So what Streamlit basically does is, if you have a Python script that may contain data, graphics, visualizations, it puts it onto a cloud server and deploys it for anyone around the world to see and run on their own within minutes. So it has no setup time involved. So if you want to send an online lesson plan to a classroom, to a remote classroom, the teacher does not have to worry about setting up. Uh, they don't have to worry about whether it's going to be compatible with different computers or operating system because it's all there on a cloud. So all you really need is an internet connection. I found out about Streamlit through another member of the LIGO collaboration, Jonah Canner at Caltech, who had made a similar app that lets people quickly view public data from the gravitational wave events that LIGO and Virgo have detected so far, and just make quick, simple plots to visualize like the spectrograms of the gravitational waves, for instance. So my goal for this project was to use the astrophysics of gravitational waves as a hook or an anchoring phenomena to teach middle school and high school physics of oscillations and waves, and to connect the textbook examples that are normally shown for waves to those which we actually see in the real world and to the frontiers of fundamental physics, which are gravitational waves. And I wanted to use Streamlit to make an online lesson which could be self-guided, or it could be followed in classrooms so that it had clear explanations of what they were seeing, some attractive visuals, and possibly even interactive elements like games and challenges. So at this point, I'm going to stop the presentation and hop over to a demo of the app. You can find the Streamlit app at this link, which is rather wrong right now. There is a way to change it, but I haven't done it so far. But you can also access it using this particular QR code, which I'll also share with you later. So this is, if you go to that link, this is how the app looks like. But I'm going to show you the app on a script that's running locally on my computer to make sure that as far as this presentation is concerned, everything goes seamless. Okay, so my goal is to connect this picture of two black holes going around each other, right? How this is what happened in the sky when LIGO made the discovery, right? So how is it connected to what the detectors actually saw, which was this waveform? So it, in a sense, what makes a gravitational wave a wave? So you can start by introducing students to waves, what makes a wave, what are the different features of a wave. Streamlit also enables the playing of sounds, which I hope you'll also be able to hear along with me. So you can go around by introducing the features of a wave and letting students create their own wave by changing different parameters like the amplitude, the frequency, and phase, and see in this interactive plot what actually happens when you change these parameters, and also what happens to the actual sound that it creates. And so far, this is how we encounter things in the textbook, right? How a wave looks like, but this is a lot more interactive. But in the real world, we hardly get waves which are of neat and constant in frequency and amplitude. For example, an ambulance siren, which the waveform of it goes all over the place. So what happens to a wave when all of these features of the wave are changing, right? And then you can go back to the gravitational waveform and notice that it also has a peculiar shape in the sense that the amplitude goes up and the frequency also seems to go up, and all of a sudden it whittles down at the end. So why does this happen? So you can have an explanation behind what the shape of this wave is. And as you may have heard, it's called a chirp, where the amplitude and the frequency go up and you can hear what it sounds like. And then there is an explanation about why two black holes which go around each other and starts orbiting faster, that increases the frequency and also radiates more gravitational waves. So why that creates this kind of a waveform. Once the students get a hang of this, they can ask questions. Okay, so what are these black holes? What happens if you change how the black holes look like, right? What if one black hole is big, the other one is small? How does that change the waveform? And you can demonstrate that using a game. So you can select your favorite gravitational wave event, and then this plot will show you in blue what the actual waveform of the event that caused it looks like. And then students can adjust um, the parameters of the two black holes. Here they can adjust how heavy the black holes are in solar masses, like 30 solar masses and 17, and then immediately see what it does to the waveform. and then also a neat little animation that shows the black holes themselves going around. So as long as they match this also teaches us the principle of detecting a gravitational wave, where you try out different combinations, and then once you start getting closer to the actual parameters, you can see that your gravitational wave matches what LIGO, the detector, recorded. And if I'm playing these parameters the right way, if you hit the sweet spot, um, you'll basically master the principles of patch filtering, which LIGO uses to detect gravitational waves. And voila, if you get a perfect match, yeah, there's a neat little celebration. And of course, you can listen to the sounds that these black holes make, because they all lie in the frequency of human audible range. There are also other features that we can utilize, which teach how an interferometer works, which relies on the principles of constructive and destructive interference, and how laser light coming from the two arms of LIGO combines. And if a gravitational wave passes, how changing that arm length can destroy the destructive interference that has been set up to give us a signal. So this is really a valuable exercise in teaching about phase. So these are just a few of the capabilities that this app has, and I invite you to check it out for yourself. And I would love to hear your feedback about the app itself. So as a summary, I'll also include a link to this QR code that goes to the app in my report. Um, but overall, I think Streamlit is a great tool to um, use research, to use public data from research collaborations available online, make a simple Python script and put it out as an educational tool to teach your favorite physics concepts. So thank you for listening, and I'll be happy to have your questions and feedback.